Evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all around the world. What's going on this evening? How you guys doing? You know what time it is when you see me. Chilltown Hoops at night. I feel like I need to rename the show to Good Evening NBA. That's how I feel like the show should be called. Because I do good morning and I feel like I should do good evening, right? And I feel like with this, we just talk about a lot of different things, and I deal with the night audience, and I just think it's a good thing. I'm actually thinking about renaming the show to Good Evening NBA. Speaking of the NBA has always made the transition, right? The NBA has always made the transition from the older guys to the younger guys. Always. This has never been an issue for the NBA when it's having its older guys who are long in the tooth, and it's time to move on from them, right? They've never had an issue in moving on. I remember there was a 3-year span, right? There was a 3-year span when the NBA in 3 years lost Magic, Bird, Jordan, and Isaiah in 3 years, right? In 3 years, the NBA lost Magic because he announced that he was HIV positive, and we didn't know anything about it at that time, except if you get it, you're going to die. Bird retires the next year in 92. Bird's out. And then Jordan in 93, he wraps it up. Isaiah in 94 tears his Achilles, and at the end of the season, there's only 4 games left at the end of the regular season, and he ends up retiring. So now we got 4 of the biggest figureheads in the game at that time wrapping it up, gone. And I'm on record saying this, and I stand on it. If baseball had not had that strike in 94, going into 95, and they didn't ask Jordan to cross the picket line, I don't think Jordan comes back to basketball. I don't. I think he stays in baseball. With that being said, the NBA had transitioned. The NBA had transitioned to the younger guys. Excuse me. To the younger guys like Shaq, Penny Hardaway, and other stars who had already been not necessarily in the background, but they've been teetering on that. And the NBA had made them more of a bigger deal, like Barkley, Lajuan, David Robinson, and transitioning to their young stars like Shaq, Penny Hardaway. And then we had some guys who we thought were going to be stars, only to find out that they were one-hit wonders, like Sprewell. In 94, Sprewell's first team All-NBA. Never made the All-Pro team again after that. 1 year. That was it. So the NBA had transitioned from the older guys to younger stars. Reggie Miller, Mitch Richmond, Grant Hill, guys like that, where, okay, we have somebody to build on. You would think that was, and the NBA never had an issue with doing that, right? When Jordan decided to retire in 98, Vince Carter shows up in 99. Ray Allen had already been in the league. Tracy McGrady had showed up in 97. Shaq was around. Bryant was turning into who he was turning into. Duncan had just shown up. So with these guys becoming, who they are, you still had that transition. And then we get to the 2000s with Iverson and Jason Kidd. The transition wasn't as difficult. Jordan comes back to the game because Jordan, he doesn't want to go out like that. He still thinks that he can play, sure. But even still, now these guys are established. Ray Allen and Bryant, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. At that time, James had just shown up in 2003. Shaq was who he was. Duncan was who he was. I'm saying all of this to say that the transition has always been smooth when you're phasing out the older guys for the young guys. It's always been like that. I'm trying to make sense in why the NBA is still holding on to these older guys. I'm trying to make sense in don't get me wrong, a lot of these older guys are still awesome. Curry, I can make an argument. Curry's still a top 5 player in the game. KD still is elite. James is 39 years old and he's still at an all-pro level. I think James is third team all-pro. But with that being said, the league is a much younger league today. Much younger. And because the league is much younger, that's what the league is going to be based on. That's the foundation of the league. So you would think that because the league has made a transition and moving away and making a transition from the older guys to the young guys, you would think that this transition would also be smooth. But it's not. Because I feel like the NBA is still holding on to these older guys. And the reason why I feel like the reason why I feel like the NBA is holding on to these older guys is off the strength that they're still not sure about these young guys. They're still not sure about these young guys. They're still trying to find that guy. So when Magic, Bird, Jordan, and Isaiah retired, well, Grant Hill showed up in 94. Olajuwon was around. Barkley was around. David Robinson was a star. Mitch Richmond was around. Shaq was in the league. Penny Hardaway had showed up. He had shown up. So these young guys were still, like, Shaq looked like he could be the future face of the league. And because of that, they were able to move on. I feel like we're in a space now where the NBA is a little reluctant because I don't think we met James yet. I don't think we met Jordan yet. I don't think we met that dude yet. I think we've met some cornerstones, right? I think we've met some cornerstones. I feel like we've met some building blocks, but I don't think we met James yet. I don't think we met him. I don't think we've met Jordan again, right? I don't think we met Magic and Bird. I don't think we met them. I don't think that they're around yet. And I think that's probably why the NBA is still holding on to these older guys. I mean, there's no reason, if I'm being honest with you guys, and I know I'm a little bit older, but when I've seen the transition from older to younger, there's no reason why the league should still be pushing James. No reason. There's no reason why the league should still be holding on to KD. There is no reason why the league should still be holding on to Steph Curry. But if you look at because you look at the talent that you have in the league, there is no reason why. But I feel like the league is looking at Anthony Edwards, SGA, Chet Holmgren, Trae Young, Jalen Brunson, De'Aaron Fox. Great guards, right? Great guards. Looking at these guys and looking looking at the league and knowing that the league is in damn good hands. Why are we still holding on to these guys? I say that because I'm trying to make sense in why Shea and Anthony Edwards only have 25 games on TV. Why do the Orlando Magic only have 9 games on TV? The Orlando Magic have a star in this kid, Banchero. I think this kid is a star. And the league isn't as young as this league is, right? As young as the league is, and the young players that are here, these guys need to be pushed forward more, way more. This kid in Houston, Jalen Green, I feel like he needs to be, I feel like he needs to be broadcast more. This kid up in Orlando, Bonchero, I think he's a star. 6'9", team made the playoffs, was the rookie of the year. Not only was he the rookie of the year, was on the FIBA national team. This Orlando Magic team is an up-and-coming team. With them being an up-and-coming team, right? With them being an up-and-coming team, that's perfect for what you guys are trying to push. You have plenty of guys in the league, young guys, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, plenty of young guys, even if they're not in major media markets. I think Bam Adebayo is a star. I don't think Bam Adebayo is a good player in the NBA. I think he's a star. And I feel like the league needs to be pushing these young guys more off the strength that this is the future of the league. You know, guys like Jason Tatum, right? Guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. You know, you hear the logic. You know, all publicity is good publicity. You know, as long as people talking about you, that's what matters. And the fact that the fact that the Boston Celtics are who they are, not a huge city. Boston is, contrary to popular belief, Boston is not a huge city. I think that with the recent census, I think Boston barely has over 500,000 people living there. Barely 500,000 people live in Boston. I think 500,000 people live in Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. Or I think 500,000 people live in Brooklyn and Queens. Brooklyn and Queens alone, if I'm not mistaken. So when I think about a team like Boston, who's, if you look at the tradition of the Boston Celtics, those guys are on TV those guys are on TV more. They won the NBA championship, but you got these young stars, right? I think you got these young stars. What's up, big fella? I think you got these young stars who, in the process of them becoming bigger, the NBA is pushing for them more. That's why I'm trying to make sense of why they are holding on to these older guys who, it's clear, don't get me wrong, I still think James is one of the elder statesmen and still one of the best players in the game. No doubt about that. But with the recent influx of young talent, man, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at how the NBA is put together, and I'm thinking to myself, why is the NBA pushing for a 39-year-old still as the best player in the game? Why are the Lakers? Because I can tell you right now, if James was in Phoenix, if James was in, I'm not even thinking of a major media market. I'm not thinking Houston. I'm not thinking New York. I'm not thinking, if he was in Toronto, I guarantee you the Raptors would be on TV way more because it's him. Now, again, I get that it's him, right? I get that. I 100% get that. But we got a lot of players in this league that are young, that the league can be built on, that we need to be pushing forward. I keep referencing guys like this kid up in Orlando, Bonchero. This kid is a star. This kid down in Miami, Bam Adebayo. He's been in the league, 7 years? I think this guy is a star. And I feel like the NBA isn't advocating for these guys more. I feel like the NBA isn't advocating for these guys not nearly as much as they should. The NBA got a star in this kid, Sabonis. Right? The NBA has a star in this kid, Sabonis. They got a star in this kid. They got a star in this kid, De'Aaron Fox. They got a star in him. And the fact that Sacramento, I think they got 12 games on TV this year. That's barely one a month. That's barely one a month. Because if the league is built on what I think it's built on, which is young stars, and not just young stars. I'm sorry, let me turn this down. When the league is built on stars, not just stars, but young stars also, 100%, we need to have these guys seen more. We have to. We have to have these guys seen more. Off the strength that this is the future of the league. This is what the league is built on. This is who the league is built on. And I'm just having a difficult time. I mean, James been around for 22 years, man. 22 years. The NFL didn't do that with Tom Brady. The NFL does not do that with Tom Brady. The NFL was pushing Lamar Jackson. The NFL is pushing Patrick Mahomes. Now, I understand that we live in a world where winning matters. I 100% get that because I'm an advocate of that, and I'm on that train. I definitely am on that train. But if you want these guys, right? If you want these guys to win, it's all a domino effect. You start pushing them more. Then the public starts demanding that they win. When the public starts demanding that they win, that now puts a fire under the organization. I got to get a better supporting cast around him. I got to get a better unit around him in order for him to have a chance to win. But that's not going to happen if you consistently keep these guys in the background. If you consistently have these guys sitting behind people who are older, and not just older, but when you should be pushing these younger guys. You 100% should be pushing these younger guys. I look at the NBA and where it is today, right? I look at the NBA and where it is today, and the NBA is much younger than it's ever been. It's built on that. It's built on 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds. That's what the league is built on. Meanwhile, the face of the league is 39 years old. Like, we're still talking about Kevin Durant. We're still talking about Steph Curry. We're still talking about Steph Curry, who's going into year 16. Right? But next year before the playoffs, he's going to be 37 years old. 37. KD's going to be 36 on opening night. You dudes telling me that we don't have guys in the league that we should be pushing more than we're pushing these guys? And that's not to say that these guys aren't still damn good players. Because again, I'm one of these dudes that I honestly think that the NBA I honestly think that the NBA sees these guys, Steph Curry in particular. I honestly think Steph Curry's still a top 5 player. I do. Today, I do. I still think he's a top 5 player. I think James. I had an issue with James being top 10. I had Donovan Mitchell in the top 10. I had James right outside the top 10. I had him at 11. But if you got him anywhere between, right? If you have him anywhere between like 6 and James could be as good as 6, but I won't go further than 11. I'm not going further than that. You can have him anywhere in that range, which I have no problem with. The issue that I'm having is young guys like Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is the future of the NBA. I think he's going to be a league MVP one day. This kid, SGA, he's probably the favorite. He's probably the favorite to win league MVP this year. Jason Tatum, I think, is a top 5 player in the game. Boston is on TV. Boston is on TV, rightfully so. Not just because they're the NBA champs, but because of who they are. Joel Embiid, right? Joel Embiid in Philly. I understand who they are in the media market that they are in right outside the tri-state area. But I think that I feel like the NBA definitely needs to push these guys more than they do, especially these young guys. Because if they did, I feel like the league would be in a better place. Not that it's in a bad place now. I think the league is in a damn good place. You know, viewership it's not what it used to be, but I think viewership is still good. Viewership isn't terrible. You know, viewership isn't what it was in the 70s. No, it's not what it was in the early 80s. Viewership is still good. And we have a whole bunch of different outlets, which I also think could have hurt the NBA a bit. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when we didn't have these many outlets, viewership was up. And the reason why it was up was because, you know, you didn't have that much access. So more people came to watch specific games. But now you got League Pass, you got ESPN, you got TNT, you got NBA TV, right? You got regional sports. So you have all of these things. So it's kind of saturated the market. But it's good in the sense that you actually get to see your favorite players. And I actually wish that that was going on when I was younger. I would have loved to have seen Stockton more than I did. I only got to see Stockton on Christmas and in the playoffs or when they were playing the Lakers. I didn't really get to see him nearly as much. So I feel like, you know, with all of these avenues, it's kind of saturated the market. And I feel like viewership could be higher if all of this other stuff wasn't here. I think that the league should push these younger guys more than they have because there's a lot of great young stars in the game. And with these younger guys being as good as they are, and we don't get to see them on a national stage. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand if you live in South Carolina and, you know, regionally, you get to see the Hornets. But we don't get to see LaMelo Ball. Right? We don't get to see Mark Williams on a national stage. We don't. Right? We don't get to see these guys nearly as much. And I think that if the league pushed these younger guys more, right? I feel like if the league had pushed these younger guys more, I think that it would help. Speaking of pushing guys, and Marcus, you talking about guys, LaMelo ain't done that. He made the All-Star team in year 2. Then he got hurt. So quiet with that. Knock it off. Knock it off with the goofy logic. And he ain't done nothing. Anthony Edwards hasn't done anything but make a couple of All-Star teams, get smoked in the FIBA games. So don't sit here and talk to me about how LaMelo Ball has done nothing. He made the All-Star team in year 2. So stop it. Knock it off, yo. Stop. As I was saying, I think that the league should be pushing these younger guys even more. And with the league pushing these younger guys more, I 100% believe that the transition would be better. It seems like the league is a little afraid to not make that transition from the old to the new. It's kind of corny. It is. I had a conversation earlier, and I'm not a huge ones fan, but I dig ones. I'm not a huge ones fan, but on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, I'm around a 7. I'm at a 6.5, maybe a 7 when it comes to ones. And I care about you as a one-on-one player. So I had some fun, right? I had some fun a little bit earlier with some ones, and I had 5 different one-on-one games. And the criteria was 3 dribbles, right? The criteria was 3 dribbles, make it, take it. And the first one was Irv against Allen Iverson. I feel like Kyrie Irving, one, how fast he is, because as fast as Allen Iverson is, Kyrie Irving, there's a difference between being quick and being fast. And Allen Iverson is fast. Irv is quick in his movements, and he's quick to get to his spot. And in 3 dribbles, how much space he creates, right? In 3 dribbles, how much space he creates. I'm taking Irv over Allen Iverson in a 1v1. I'll say 11-8. The next one was Carmelo Anthony and Jason Tatum. And I thought this was a wash to me. I don't even think that this was a question. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm a Jason Tatum fan, right? Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a Jason Tatum fan. I love Jason Tatum. He couldn't cover Carmelo Anthony one-on-one. No. I think Carmelo Anthony would have bust his ass. One-on-one, I think Carmelo Anthony would have bust his ass. We talk about phone booth scoring. There aren't many guys. There aren't many guys who don't need a lot of space to get a shot off. Carmelo Anthony was one of those guys. 6'8", 240 pounds, 3 dribbles. Carmelo Anthony didn't need that much. I don't think he needed that much to score. He had that face-up game where first of all, you couldn't crowd him because of how strong he was, right? You can't crowd him just off the strength of how strong he is. You can't crowd him. And if you try to crowd him, he had a super quick first step. Super quick. Not only did he have a super quick first step, he gets off the floor off 1 dribble with the best of them. And I think he serves JT 11-7. I think he serves him 11-7. Now, is he going to score every trip? No, I'm not buying that logic. No. I'm not buying that logic at all. So I think Jason Tatum would give him work off the strength of Jason Tatum also being able to face up and knock down the mid-range jump shot, even knock down the long ball shot. But I think JT, I think he'd settle with 3 dribbles. I think Carmelo Anthony would not allow him. He wouldn't allow Jason Tatum to make him settle for a shot. I think he gets whatever he wants. And he doesn't do that against Jason Tatum. He does that with anybody. I get whatever I want whenever I want. So I'm going to take Carmelo Anthony over Jason Tatum. I had Bird and KD. And I think I'm probably in the minority in this. A lot of you guys, especially you young guys, which boils my blood because you have no idea how good Bird actually was as a one-on-one player. You have no idea. Your logic is KD is smoking Bird, not realizing that Bird went up against Dominique Wilkins. Bird went up against Bernard King. Bird went up against great one-on-one players, great ones. Alex English. He went up against great one-on-one players and held his own against all of them. Now, don't get me wrong. I think KD is almost unmatched when it comes to one-on-one. But I feel like Bird, with his ability to face you up, right? To the ability to face you up, get his shot off, create space, not just create space. The shot that he has where you can't get to it. Like Bird's shot isn't here. It's back here. He's 6'9". So you can't get to it. And it's almost impossible to stop. Now, is Bird scoring every trip? No. Just like KD ain't scoring every trip. No, he's not. In fact, can you guys run that of all the guys that you in all the years you've seen KD, have you seen KD hit 11? Now we're playing ones, by the way. Right? We're playing ones. Have you seen KD hit 11 straight buckets on somebody? 11 straight? No. And I've seen KD go off. But you know what? I've seen Bird go off too. And we're talking about Bird, who, damn good team defender. Not only damn good team defender, really good closeout defender. Could he guard in space? I think he's better than what you give him credit for. Not only do I think he's better than what you give him credit for, I think he was more handsy. He was tougher than you give him credit for. Is he going to shut KD down? No. He's not going to shut KD down. I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. He's not shutting KD down. But I tell you what, KD ain't shutting him down either. And the idea that that he's going to score 11 straight points and he's not going to get the ball back, that Bird's not going to get the ball back, that part I'm not buying. No. Bird was a fan, especially Bird when he was in his prime. I don't think you give Bird enough credit for how crafty he was, how athletic he was. You guys talk about Bird being slow. You ain't slow averaging 28 a game. No. You're not non-athletic when you're averaging 28 a game. So I'm not buying that. Another one I had some fun with. I had some fun with Sheed and Giannis. I think Rasheed Wallace will bust Giannis' ass. First and foremost, just like Bird's shot was back here, Sheed had a shot that was up here. Sheed already 6'11", so him and Giannis the same size. Good luck getting and Rasheed Wallace had a money mid-range game. Just like Bird. Right? Just like Bird, Sheed had a money mid-range game. Money. And I won't even talk about Sheed in the mid-post and on the box. Now, again, I only got 3 dribbles. Right? I only got 3 dribbles. And you get to start wherever you want to start. Sheed facing up Giannis, shot fake, getting his shot off. Now, is he hitting 11 straight on Giannis? No. But I'm taking Rasheed Wallace. I'm taking Rasheed Wallace over Giannis in 1v1s. 100% I am. And the last one I had was Jordan and Bryant. And don't get me wrong, I've seen Bryant, who he basically bit Jordan's style. And imitation is the greatest form of flattery, let me tell you. Imitation is the best form of flattery. But when you're talking 3 dribbles, I mean, that was Jay's game. 2 dribble pull up. Jab, 1 dribble, go. Get to the rim. 2 dribble shot fake, step through. That was James's game. I'm sorry, that was Jordan's game. That's who he was every day, all day. And it's one thing when you know my game and you study my game. It's like a boxer. You're like, when the punches is coming. That don't mean you can stop them. It does not mean that you can stop them. So I'm taking Jay. I'm taking Jay 11-8. 3 dribbles. That's it. That's all you get. So again, I'm looking at the league and how young it is, right? In addition to how young the league is, right? In addition to how young the league is, I'm thinking about why the NBA isn't pushing the league more. And I was talking about ones. And the fact that I look at a guy like Carmelo Anthony, who had to be in there. I didn't bring up guys like James Harden and Dominique Wilkins. No, I didn't bring up guys like that. Those were the 5. Those were the 5 ones that I thought about. So I really feel like those 2 matchups will be a great matchup. I'm not listening to any of you dudes that's telling me that KD is smoking Larry Bird. That's going in one ear and out the other. I'm telling you right now. Any of you dudes in here talking to me, telling me that KD is smoking Larry Bird, I am not. I'm telling you right now, I'm hanging the phone up on you because you don't know anything about basketball. I'm not going to say you don't know anything about basketball. I'm going to take that back. You clearly don't know how good Bird was. You clearly don't. So I'm not going to talk to you, and I can't school you on Bird. So any of you guys, right? Any of you guys that's saying to me, yo, KD would have smoked Bird, don't talk to me. Don't come up here because I'm telling you right now, I'm not listening to you because there's no logic that you can give me to tell me that KD would have smoked Bird because that tells me clearly you have no idea how good Bird was as a one-on-one player. You have no idea, none whatsoever. So, but I want to hear from you guys though. I do. I do want to hear from you guys in terms of the league being younger, like ones. What's going on with you guys? What up?
What's up? Man, you capping for LaMelo, I ain't gonna lie. But for the Michael
Anthony Edwards, I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you, Anthony Edwards. Remember Edwards? You're gonna be the league MVP one day. But I listen to you, and I'm. It's like a bad chick. It's like a fine chick. Now I got to start figuring out what's wrong with her. Like, wait a minute, I shouldn't be looking at her like that. She fine as hell, and I think she's gonna be Miss America one day. But listen to this dude. He making her sound like she's Miss Universe now, and she's not.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You have no idea about LaMelo. LaMelo was an all-star, yo, in year 2. What are you talking about?
That's fine.
No, you clearly don't know. You don't.
Yes,
you
I
don't
do.
know.
Yes, I do.
No,
I'm saying, look, he been injury prone in the last 2 seasons. He ain't never made the playoffs. And what, hasn't he only played like 40 games in each season, the last 2 seasons?
His last 2 seasons, he was hurt.
Why would the NBA want to promote an injury prone ass nigga?
Right.
Why?
Now, and here's why. Here's why. The reason why, 1, he made the All-Star team. 2, he's charismatic. 3, to get eyes on what's going on in Charlotte. Don't forget.
He make the playoffs.
Okay, and that's the point that I'm making. One of the reasons why they didn't make the playoffs was because he got hurt. Now, that year that he made the All-Star team, they were on their way to making the playoffs. Gordon Hayward got hurt. He threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. If Gordon Hayward doesn't get hurt, they weren't a play-in team. They're a playoff team if he doesn't get hurt. Now, it's up to LaMelo Ball to stay healthy. But I think you underselling him. He's a lot better than what you think he is. He's just.
No, I'm not underselling him.
He just might be made. I'm not sure if he's made of glass or not. That's the thing that I'm worried about.
He might be made. Hey, you say you was out on Zion. You might finna be out on LaMelo too. We been honest.
This season right here, Marcus. This season right here. I get another season-ending injury. I'm out. I'm telling you that right now. I get one more. This season right here is the season. I get another season-ending injury from him. I'm out. OUT out.
He needs to play more, and he needs to make the playoffs if you want the NBA to push him. Because I've been looking on NBA on their Instagram and like on their YouTube page. They push Ant. You say Ant hasn't done nothing for the age he was at 22 years old. Yes, he did. Only him and Kobe are the only ones 22 years old or under has had consecutive 40-point games. All right.
Oh, that's buckets. Come on, man. I can do that. I can do that. First of all, are we having a conversation about LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards? Are we doing that?
No. Because
I want to make sure we don't. Okay, because we're not doing that.
No, I'm just saying. You had said before that Ant hasn't done anything either. I'm like, for the age he's at, yes, he has.
You're saying that LaMelo Ball. My issue with you is you're saying that LaMelo Ball hasn't done anything. Okay, I made the All-Star team.
All-Star and no playoff.
Okay, I made the All-Star team in year 2, and then I got hurt. He was 20-8.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask you a question. How many 20-8 guys are at the league guard spot in year 2?
At year 2, did Tyrese Halliburton do that?
20-8.
He ain't do 20-8.
20-8? No, not in year 2. He didn't. Nope.
I don't think Ja did that.
Nope.
Who else in the league?
The problem with him is that the problem with him is that he's injury prone. Now the question is
his game is fine.
Can he stay healthy? That's the difference here. That's the difference with him. Anthony Edwards, who, as you know, I think he's going to be the league MVP. I get so much heat for that. I get blowtorched for that. Like, who is he going to beat out? Who's he going to beat out? How do you see him as the league MVP? Like 2 years ago, we was talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being the league MVP.
Yeah, like, bro, it's not unbelievable to think this. Like, I don't think people realize what progression is. He was just on this Olympic team with one of the greatest players of all time, like 5 of the greatest players of all time. He has learned something from that. You know, we can assume that he learned something from that. And he's only been improving every single year in like every single aspect of basketball. So it's not hard to say that Ant can win it this year, next year, or 2 years from now.
Well, clearly not. The reason why, Mark, is because everybody else is getting better. He's not going to get better, though. That's it. Everybody else, that's why he's not going to be
I hate
MVP.
that shit. I hate it so much. I hate it. They think he's going to stay the same as 22-year-old.
He ain't getting better. Wemby's going to get better, though. Right? Wemby's going to get better. SGA is going to get better.
Right.
Luka's going to get – all these dudes going to get better. Anthony Edwards, on the other hand, nope.
He's going to stay the same. That's it. He's going to stay the same. He'll never get better. He's going to stay exactly what he is.
I get blowtorched for this. I get roasted for this. Like, this going to be the same dude. In 3 years, he's going to be the same player he was at 22. He ain't the same player at 22 that he was at 20.
Yeah, man, oh, my God. Yeah, in the playoffs, in this first playoff series, he was very good. You know, I watched his defense on John Morant in that series. Bro,
let's Marcus, let's take the playoffs out of this scenario for a second.
Let's take it off.
2 years ago, is Anthony Edwards the same player today that he was 2 years ago?
Fuck, hell no.
All right, so what we doing? So what's happening right now? What's going on? I'm in the matrix. I gotta be. So good to talk to you, brother. You know where to find me at. Yep. What up? Yo. I had him. See if I can get him back. What up?
What up, Chill?
What's up?
Man, thinking about the ones, man. I'm surprised you didn't bring up Bernard King, man. Bernard King, you talking about ones?
I just had five different games, and Minor, the next person that I can't handle listening to these people tell me that KD would have smoked Bird. I'm not listening to that. No, I'm not. I will not listen to that. I won't. When
you were talking about it on the panel this morning, and Morris said that KD is stronger than Bird, I was like, no. Larry Bird grew up on a farm. The reason he messed up his back is because he was doing farm work.
Yes.
So if the thought that he can't out muscle KD is in your head, let that go. He would have backed KD down. He was a much better post player than KD, and he would have muscled him, and he would have gotten his head. Larry Bird talked trash to everybody. Everybody.
What I know for a fact, Minor, because when I think about trash talkers, I want to know what he said to Doc. For Doc to punch him in his face, that was enough for me.
The gentleman of the league.
The classiest guy was Doc. For Doc to punch you in your face, I want to know what he said to Doc.
He just hit him once, Chill. He was letting them lose.
Right.
He was letting them go.
I'm thinking to myself, what could Bird have possibly said to Doc to make Doc swing on him? Because Doc don't like that. That ain't Doc.
No. I'm trying to think, is there any other times where I think Doc maybe got into one other fight in the NBA?
Never seen Doc get. I seen Doc maybe get into a little bit of verbal stuff. Swinging on a guy?
No, I can't think of any other time.
Swinging on a guy, Minor. Imagine LeBron's punching Luka in the face
repeatedly.
Right. Like, what the hell did Luka say to him to make him punch him in the face?
It wasn't like Bird hit him and then backed up. No, it wasn't like Dr. J just hit him once. He was like pop, 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 pop. But as far as ones, man, Bernard King, Dominique Wilkins, Melo, Tracy McGrady, those four, and George Gervin, who doesn't get enough respect as a great one-on-one player. Those guys right there, oh man, it'd be hard to find somebody who can consistently beat them in a one-on-one game. And as far as pushing the young teams, man, they got to win, Chill.
I know it.
They got to win.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. If they're not gonna win, they'll never get the publicity.
So if that's true, I mean, because I seen Oklahoma City when KD and Russ was on the crew, and they were on their way. The NBA was pushing them. They didn't necessarily win the NBA championship, but they were pushing them because that's what the league is. The NBA isn't the NFL. The NFL is a league of teams. The NBA is a league of players.
But think about how OKC was pushing teams in the playoffs. They might lose in the first and second round, but those series were going 6 and 7 games, and that's how you get known. If you get swept in the first round, ain't nobody gonna care about you. Yeah, I would love for somebody to tell me who was the starting five of the Milwaukee Bucks in 2012.
In 2012, I think they had Henson. They had the kid from UCLA. The big kid from UCLA? They had Henson. Who else did they have that year?
And that's my
Michael Redd was on that crew.
Michael Redd was sick, but he was done. By 2012, he was done.
Yeah, well, he was on the Olympic team in 2012.
Yeah, he was. He didn't get that much clock either on the Olympic team.
He was on the Olympic team, so I got to go dig into my memory bank, but I know about 3 of those guys.
But that's my point. If you're not winning, and if you're not making good, runs in the playoffs, nobody is gonna care. So it's up to Paulo. It's up to the Houston Rockets, and honestly, it's up to even the Sacramento Kings, as good as they are. those are all teams that if they make some good runs, they'll start to get pushed more, and as far as the NBA. But until then, I'm gonna go with these surefires. I know if we put KD on TV, y'all gonna watch. If we put LeBron on TV, you gonna watch. If we put Steph on TV, you gonna watch. If you put Wemby is probably the newest guy that's guaranteed that people will tune in and watch. What were
But
you
the,
about to say, Chip?
but the difference though, Minor, is those guys all. I mean, this Orlando team, they took Cleveland to 7 games. That was a dogfight, right? Meanwhile, I got to
Mm-hmm.
watch KD get smoked out of the playoffs. I got to watch him get. I'm watching him get swept out of the playoffs. 4 straight games, right? So
Yeah,
when you're
but
talking about teams, making pushes, I mean, this Oklahoma City team, they go up against Dallas last year in a 6-game dogfight, right?
mm-hmm.
The year before that, and nobody thought that they were going to be that good. Sacramento was another prime example. This is a team that they took Steph Curry to 7 games. Now, they had some injuries last year. That's what held them up. That's why they didn't make the playoffs. Not because they weren't good enough. But, I mean, these teams are pushing to counter your point. These teams are actually making pushes toward the playoffs. And when they get in the playoffs, they don't flame out. I mean, the Lakers have been swept out of the playoffs in the last 2 years. I mean, last year they lost in 5 games. The year before that, swept out of the playoffs. Now, I understand that Bron is he's the ticket, right? I understand that point. I know that Bron is the one on the moniker, but I mean, Minnesota is in the Western Conference Championship.
Mm-hmm.
SGA and this Oklahoma City team, which is young and up and coming, they should be on TV more. 1, they got a young star. 2, they got a damn good team that's going to be trouble. This Orlando Magic team, they were a top 5 seed. You don't necessarily have to win the NBA championship, but you have to show some promise. And Orlando has shown promise. Cleveland has
I
shown
agree.
promise.
I agree.
Oklahoma City has shown promise. Minnesota, these teams are showing promise.
I would say the other thing is, I don't think a lot of these kids want it. I think they just want to make their money and go home. I don't know if they want to be. I don't think they want to be faces of the league because they seen the stress and the pressure that it put on LeBron, and they don't want that. I genuinely don't think they want that. I don't think Joker don't want it. He could care less. He wants to win. I'm not saying that, but I don't think he wants to be necessarily the face of the league.
Minor winning costs, B, and it's a lot of guys that winning costs. You got to
Yes.
go dig. You got to dig.
You got to sacrifice.
Yeah, winning costs. So you got to dig in your pocket if you're trying to win. But to your point, when you talk about these guys don't want it, I think a lot of these guys are young enough at this point where I'm still trying to prove that I can stick. That's always been the case with a lot of young guys. A lot of these guys haven't been, especially when I was coming up, a lot of these guys weren't born into great situations. You know, they had to show, okay, I'm good enough to stick. By year 4, year 5, all right, I got to start winning. It's obvious that I'm good enough to stick around, but I got to start winning now. And I feel like maybe a lot of these younger guys, some of them, not a lot of them, some of them are in that space where they feel like they have to stick, but they're getting to that point because we live in the society that we live in where everything is right in your face, where I got to start winning now.
I'll tell you who wanted it. Ja wanted it. Ja wanted to be the face of the league.
Oh, you're goofy,
but he's a goofy. So that's the problem. You're not professional.
I think he's getting off that, though. So good to talk to you, Minor. I know
always.
Yep. What up?
What up, Joe? You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You good?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Yeah. When it comes to you were saying about what the NBA is pushing, and I believe that the part of the problem is that it's the fans. It's us. The NBA will only sell you what you want to see. And quite frankly, if you want to look back onto why the NBA is going to push a player to the point where they're going to squeeze as much juice out of this as they possibly can, you can go back to the 2002 season, the Michael Jordan Wizards. When Michael Jordan went to the Wizards, they were second in the league in attendance. They had the second highest attendance throughout the entire league. When he left, they went back down to about 19th.
Garbage.
And they were garbage. But the games were high in viewership. They were selling out arenas all the time. And when you look at it, when you look at who's the biggest draws, you can take a guess what the biggest game last season was.
Last season?
Yeah.
The Lakers, Golden State.
Exactly. The highest ratings they had in 5 years between LeBron and Steph Curry for 5 years. So the league will push what you want to see. And part of the problem is that a lot of the guys who saw LeBron James are getting to the age where they're adults now. It's 22 years of this. Some of us are in our mid-20s, come out to 30s now, and we're now starting to pay for the nostalgia. So we're seeing LeBron James. We want to see him more because he's not staying around as long. Same with Steph Curry. We're paying for the nostalgia. But some of these new guys, we're not giving them any chance because we want to see our favorite players play. And when because it's the same with the generation before, they're still talking about Kobe. They're still talking about Jordan. They still will pay for Kobe. They'll still pay for Jordan. Look how big the Last Dance documentary was. There's only been a few needle movers in terms of draws, in terms of basketball, and those kind of are Magic, Bird, Michael Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron James and Steph Curry.
Who, Amari, in today's game, in your estimation, when you watch, who is box office? Who is must-see TV? Because I feel like, and the reason why I'm asking you this is because when I think about must-see TV, I felt like Carmelo Anthony was box office. Russell Westbrook was box office.
Yeah.
Right? KD, James, Steph Curry. I felt like those guys were box office. Like when they were on TV, I was in front of the TV.
Yeah, and those guys had such dynamic play styles, and I think that comes from the era that they was in before. If you notice, all of those guys kind of don't do the same thing. So I think part of the problem with the new kind of sets of players is that they kind of come from, when you look at basketball, you can kind of see the school of thought, and I think that the newer players come from a school of thought that a lot of the fans, maybe who are in their mid-20s to onwards, kind of don't like that kind of style. Whereas the younger people that are coming up. So in terms of the box office players, I think you've got the next big draw. I think the NBA is Anthony Edwards. I think he's the next big draw. You could see it. There was no real reason for people to get behind the Timberwolves outside of Anthony Edwards this season. And it was a very big groundswell that everybody wanted to see Anthony Edwards do well. Like Nikola Jokic is not a draw, not only just because he's boring, because he also he's not a boring player. He just is boring personality-wise. It's kind of like a Duncan. It's just, when the NBA had Tim Duncan, they liked Tim Duncan as he was a very safe person. But every time he was in the finals, the viewership failed. So it was like, the NBA is not going to push Tim Duncan because they want people to see them play. And I think the biggest one is Anthony Edwards. I think Jason Tatum, people just don't like him. I don't know what the issue is. They don't like him. There's been an open rejection of Tatum since he's maybe from his second season. They don't want this, but Anthony Edwards has this kind of momentum behind him where they want to see him do well. So I think he's the next big box office star. I think currently the NBA doesn't have one. I think they're going through a very, very tough transition period. Yeah. It's more tough than the 2000s, I think. At least you had Shaq, who was a big dynamic star outside of the NBA. Kobe Bryant was a big star in the NBA and outside the NBA. But I think LeBron James and Steph Curry are the last cultural people to make an impact with basketball. So I think this reason why it's such a hard thing, because these newer guys, they just don't seem to connect. They don't have the star power. They don't have maybe even the games to a certain degree that make people intrigued by them. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But I think this is going to be the hardest flux between.
Sounds like it's fair. What it sounds like you're telling me, Amari, is Jordan, Shaq, James. We haven't met him yet. That's what it sounds like you're telling me.
Maybe Wemby.
Sounds like we haven't met him yet. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, we probably haven't met that new big star. I think with football, with NFL, I think it's less obsessed with the past. It's important, but NBA is very much driven on past content. Even when you're talking about the ones, all of these players haven't played for Rasheed Wallace was probably the most recent player. He retired 13 years ago. Right. But we're talking about him, and he does bust Giannis's ass, and so is Carmelo. Carmelo Anthony. I don't know if you remember, Chill, when he did the fake out on Zion, he didn't even dribble.
No, he didn't.
He had Zion spinning. Carmelo Anthony is one of the greatest one-on-one players I've ever seen. I mean, but he would bust Jason Tatum's ass for the kid. And Larry Bird and KD, I'm gonna give it 11. I'm gonna give it 11-6. I'm gonna give it 11-6 to KD. Bird gets his, but KD has the advantage, I think, as a scorer. But yeah, I'll leave it there, Chill.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. What's up, brother?
Chilltown, what's going on? How you doing? Thanks
Good,
for
brother.
thanks
What's
for having
going on,
me.
brother?
Listen, you're talking about dominance in the form of an individual scorer. You know,
Sure.
in terms, just going out there and exerting their will on the game. First of all, I like the shout out that I had for Bernard King. Okay, you know what I mean. Shout out to Heaven is a Playground that looks at his younger brother Albert King, and in terms of what he was doing in New York in the 80s, a one-man wrecking crew. Along with, let me let me think. Who is Michael? The ship be sinking. He's Michael Ray Richardson. The ship be sinking. Michael Ray Richardson was on the Knicks during them days. But Showtime, we're gonna cut to the chase with this. Listen, you got to put Isaiah Thomas in the conversation.
Isaiah Thomas, a fantastic one-on-one.
Flat out.
He was a fantastic.
All world scorers, and we're talking about an RPO type of scorer. We're not just talking about from the standpoint of just raining down threes, raining down mid-range, getting to the basket, but also dishing the rock and diming people and just kind of an everything point guard. Pat Riley talks about it in terms of some of the best point guard play we've ever seen in the league that people don't talk about as much is Isaiah Thomas in the late 80s. Yes, sir, to dethrone the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers and to take that mantle away from the Lakers and the Celtics and to establish himself after the debacles that he had with Boston. Could have got there a couple years earlier, but climbed his way all the way back up the mountain to establish himself there. So I got to put Isaiah Thomas in this conversation. He gets a lot of flack, and his legacy is somewhat tarnished because he wasn't on a dream team, and he has the well-known beef with Michael Jordan. He had the beef with Magic Johnson. He's from the west side of Chicago. Anybody that wants to talk about a pull yourself up by your bootstrap story, wants to talk about somebody, a self-made man, look at Isaiah Thomas's biography and his background growing up on the west side of Chicago with the gangster disciples who would go through the neighborhoods, banging on doors, telling the families, we need your kids. Your kids are going to be initiated into this gang. There's nothing that you can say about it, okay? And Isaiah Thomas talks about his mother going toe-to-toe with these street toughs and saying that there's only one gang in this house, and that's the Thomas gang, and you guys can get the stepping, okay? So go back and look at Isaiah's his history. Growing up, the challenges, crazy story when Bobby Knight went to the west side of Chicago to recruit him. Check that story out. And here's what I got to say in conclusion with Isaiah Thomas. Okay, there's a lot of slander that I'm hearing with the coronation of Steph Curry. Steph Curry, he deserves his flowers, but I'm hearing slander about him being the greatest point guard of all time and people overstepping and not giving Isaiah Thomas the credit he deserves to be in the conversation. Steph Curry's career, he's had more longevity. So pound for pound, Isaiah Thomas only played that 10 years, different era. Larry Bird, only 10, 11 years. They didn't have the longevity that Steph has, in terms of the totality. So I will give Steph the go-ahead there. But Isaiah Thomas would give him the business. Isaiah Thomas would work Steph Curry, and he could shoot threes too, by the way. And he's coming from an era where they played real defense, bad boy defense, where they can get up in you. They played St. Anthony's defense in those times, okay? Not this go just run around and have fun and shoot threes and nobody playing defense and 170 points being scored and all this fairy tale nonsense. So put some respect on Isaiah Thomas' name. Steph Curry, you had the better career, but he would work your behind out coming from the west side. 100%. St. Anthony's, he's coming from St. Joe's and Coach Pingator. Okay, give that man his respect. Showtown, thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. Good to talk to you. What up? What up? I had him in and I didn't. What up? What's going on, brother?
Yo, what up, OG?
What's up, brother?
I had two things for you, man. So what you think about T-Mac and KD 1v1s? And what about AD and Garnett?
What about AD and Garnett?
Yeah, those two.
Tracy McGrady and Kevin Garnett. I'm sorry, Tracy McGrady and Kevin Durant one-on-one.
Yeah, that's tough.
I think that's a tough one. I think I'm gonna take. I'll take KD. I will take KD. I think KD's mid-range was a little bit better. I think his shot creation was a little bit better, just a little bit. And we're talking 3 dribbles. right? We're talking 3 dribbles. Yeah, I'll take KD over Tracy McGrady, but I take him in a dog fight. I take him in like an 11-8 game.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
a good one.
Now, as far as AD and Garnett, first of all, Garnett was a ones guy. That's who he was.
Yeah,
I'll
he was
take
a
Garnett.
small. He was a small forward when he came in the league. I see.
I'll take Garnett over AD 1-on-1.
Right.
Yes, I will.
Right.
Because he had all of that stuff in his game, all of it. All right, brother, good to talk to. What up? What up?
Oh, hey, what's going on, OG? How you doing?
What's up, brother?
I was thinking, like, I remember you mentioning, like, we as fans can't let go of, like, James and Curry and all these kinds of guys. Do you think, like, the NBC studios and all the television people, they don't want to let go either? And that's maybe one of the reasons why they're not showing these young stars as much, because they're like, you know what, we kind of are making a lot of money off of, even if the Lakers stink, even if the Warriors stink, people show up to watch Curry, they show up to watch LeBron James and KD. And unfortunately for the young stars, they're like, well, I'm actually really good and we're not on a great team, but we just haven't established that name yet. And you're too afraid to let go and take a gamble on us, on your viewing. What do you think of that take?
I don't hate that. And the reason why I don't hate that, because the proof is in the pudding. If you think about the highest rated games when Curry goes up against James, when James goes up against the Celtics, and the Lakers have been a play-in team over the last 3 years. Same thing with Curry and his team. I mean, they didn't make the playoffs last year. They got the second most games on television this year. Second most. This is a team that didn't even make the playoffs last year. Year before that, they got bounced in the second round. And here we are. This team is second in the league. And I don't think the Warriors are going to be good at all this year, if I'm being honest with you. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be that. I don't think they're going to be good at all. But it has that Curry effect. 100% it does. And the NBA understands the consumer. They already know that. I mean, they already got me on the hook. So they're not worried about me. They know that I'm going to watch. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get the casual fan. With them trying to get the casual fan, household names like Curry, like James, those are the guys that they put on television because they know the casual fan is going to watch that.
Yeah.
But the difference, though, is you as a foundation, you as an entity, well, you got to turn guys like Anthony Edwards, SGA, De'Aaron Fox. You got to turn these young stars, Bonchero. You got to turn them into stars too. Just like you turn Curry into a star. Curry's game wasn't the only thing that made him a star. What helped make Curry a star was that you put him on TV a lot.
People, if you know the person, then they become a star. You can't become a star until you know them. But it's just one of those things. Do you feel like it's evolved that way, or has it been that way since the beginning? Like, do you feel like when Jordan in the 90s, when all those guys were retiring, were they still like be like, oh God, and trying to show older players, or do you think it's evolved into something?
No, what they did. So, like I said, when you lose Jordan, I mean, when you lose Magic, Bird, Jordan, and Isaiah in consecutive seasons, okay, now what we have to do is we got to push big media markets. So Houston's on TV more with Olajuwon, right? Seattle is on TV more with Gary Payton. Phoenix is on TV with Barkley more, right? Utah isn't on TV nearly as much, even though they got a fantastic player in Malone, but nobody really cares what's going on in Salt Lake City. The strength that it's Utah, because what we're trying to do, the media isn't what it is today. It's not that in 1994, right? And I'm on record saying that I wish I could have got to see Stockton play more. Way more than what I did. I would have loved to have seen him play more. But unfortunately, the media wasn't what it was in 1987, 1988. I only got to see Stockton play in the All-Star game, when they played the Lakers, when they played the Celtics, or in the playoffs. That's it. I didn't really get to see him play that much. But I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. And the other thing with KD and Bird, I don't think it has anything to do. I think Bird would win. It hasn't less to do with their shooting ability and their mental mentality. You've got the biggest like we've mentioned before, the biggest chirper, the guy who can get under anyone's skin, and Larry Bird against one of the most sensitive human beings on the planet, and KD. So that's a lose-lose for KD. I'm sorry, he can shoot as much as you want, but if he just has one comment, dribble done, like it just comes down to like who can stay focused. And I don't think KD would be able to handle that level of assholiness.
Think Bird talking out of his game. Man.
Yeah, you can shoot all you want, but if you're not there mentally, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Good to talk to you, Lee. All right, brother.
Good to talk, buddy.
Yep. I don't know if I hate it. So, all right, guys, it's about that time for me. It was good to see you guys tonight. Y'all know where to find me at, man. Y'all know what time it is with me. If I'm not here, I'm on the panel from 11 to 2. If I'm not on the panel, I'm here. And on Tuesday nights, I'm with my man Tony Tone on Fluent and Chill right here and on the Sports Fluent Network. If I'm not there, I'm here. If I'm not here on Saturday afternoons at 12 o'clock, right? On Saturday afternoon at 12 o'clock, I'm with my man Big Ox on Chill with Chill. That's where you can find us at. That's where you can find me at. So I'm not hard to find. I will see you guys soon, but until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Last time you talk to your mother, call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon, but until then, take it light, take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight.